So we've got the CC and G research group. Okay, so this is their what they brought, the concerns around the HMOs. So these are the bullet points I'm going to read out. Is are these room sizes getting checked before they are passed? Are slope ceilings being taken into consideration? Anything under 1.52 meters in height cannot be used. Waste management is the backyard big enough to hold and stated number of bins so they are not left outside. Once one HMO short-term let gets permission, increase for applications, taking away from family housing, lack of family housing. So that's all the issues that they're bringing up. Lack of children, potential for schools, lack of children, potential for schools to be shut down. Is this policy being used? HOU3, protecting residential stock for families, has been used by the committee in the past. Healthcare facilities facing higher demands, less appointments available. Noise, antisocial behaviour, loss of community cohesion, increased traffic, lack of parking spacing, unlicensed, overcrowded HMO and the risk this imposes, i.e. fire, hazard, sewage, etc. Intentions. Our intentions is laid out below. Observe, identify new HMO properties. Orient accurately gathering the information on that property. Decide based on the information we make decisions either to set up a petition or protest. Act. A collective decision will be made and steps will be put in place to help those who live in close proximity to the HMOs. Who are they? The group is characterised by the recent unsettling events within the CCAG ward, namely the growth in scattered housing or HMO off kilter. Thoughts are now brought together and proper balanced research is taking place to stop the housing crisis developing into a black market. So basically, it's a different way of doing things, guys. You know what I mean? They are going down the legal route, and this is the first step for the boys in Coleraine to do something right. You know what I mean? Because it's difficult doing something right. It's difficult getting it right. You know, it's a minefield to navigate, and it's difficult for anybody that's stepping up to get involved in what I call the right wing. You know, and the right wing means that you love your country, you're a traditionalist. You know, you love your culture, you love your traditions, and you know, you don't want any changes going forward. You don't want to be replaced. You know what I mean? And you know, you want to make sure that your children are brought up and live in a society that you're used to whenever you're no longer here. Like I say, people in Rotherham and Rochdale and Leicester and all these places probably would have done with people like Dan stepping up at the very start. Like I say, different times as well. It wasn't as easy. We've got a lot more information. We've got AI. We've got a lot of good researchers. We were able to bring facts and figures and what I call receipts. You know what I mean? So yeah, fair play to them. Guys and dolls, Freedom Dad here outside the Coleraine Council offices, and we've travelled up from Belfast, a couple of cars, and we've got Glenn here, always got my back, as always. I'm here with the man himself, Mr. Dan Gundle. I'm going to do a wee bit before this and like put in the bit of paper. You can, what do you call it?
Method statement.
The method statement.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read that out before this, you know, so they know what we're talking about. So how do you think it went?
I think it went well, mate. Yeah. We've kind of got a bit of a footing now in a sense where it's like they've heard our voice. You know, they know that public are worried. You know, public are scared now at this point. And we need to get answers and clarity as to who's all going into these HMOs. We've got serious amount around the north coast. I think they said over 200. Like you said, you've the one up in Cremore Court there where there's 17 in the one area, which houses 68 bodies. Where this is meant to be student accommodation opposite the university, which is a real issue. But I believe we've had some sort of constructive conversation tonight there where it's I believe we're on the right track.
So do you think that there's an understanding of, you know, as you know, with me doing what I've been doing the last year, over a year, the far right racist thing, do you think that's sort of disappearing a wee bit now because they're starting to realise that we're actually just genuine concerned?
Well, this is what it is, mate. I think that we are in a point in time now where that pendulum has swung and that the far right and racist card just doesn't work with the public anymore, you know? It's a lot more deeper and complex than that, as you well know.
And you're seeing what's going on in Belfast. I take it with the South Belfast, the village in Shankill where Glenn's from, and other East Belfast. You know, it's just as bad now. You know, we're driving about there, walking about there. Because you know the boys do the night patrols.
Yeah.
And you know, I was over in Scotland saying like, you know, you can't turn your head without seeing a foreigner, you know, and nothing against foreigners and diversity and all that. And we were talking about this on the way down the car, Dan, about being like, we are nice people.
Yeah.
We are nice people, and we do want to have immigration. Immigration is healthy, but it's unchecked immigration that they're giving us, and it also leads to replacement if it isn't kept in check. If too many people come in, then as you know, the birth and deaths, we weren't having enough children. We're already in decline, and if they keep bringing these people in, like we see in England and Scotland, then it's not going to fare well for us.
It certainly is not, mate. You see that the demographic changes are there in plain sight now. Yeah, it's there to see. Like I said in my speech at the rally, Bob or what do you call him? Sorry, Stevie Wonder could see it. You know, it's like it's there in plain sight. Yeah. And like I said, in terms of the HMOs, it's all about connecting the dots. Like it's all connected. Like you said, there's these guys in Belfast that I think they own the Cremore Court. It's all the same landlords. So it's like the landlords.
Greedy landlords, we call them, greedy landlords. They don't care about the future. They've probably got houses in other countries that they can go to, you know what I mean? But
these people don't live in these landlords don't live in the working class areas that are suffering the most, you know, and that's who's suffering, the working class man and his family.
And the problem that we have as like patriots, you know what I mean, is we find that because it's not so widespread, we don't have Rotherhams and Rochdales and Blackburns and Lutons and Leicesters, and we don't have a London. Belfast isn't quite like London, you know what I mean, where the demographic is completely changing, where we've got Sadiq Khan, 3 times Lord Mayor. We were talking about that on the way down as well, you know. Will there ever be, what do you call your man, Lord Mayor?
Salih Khan.
No, who's that?
Ken Livingstone.
No, the one who's fighting for that.
Aunt Middleton, Special Boat
Aunt Middleton, and I was like, there was no chance.
Ex-armed forces.
Yeah, but there's what chances he got when it's the majority of London that will vote. They're not going to vote the next.
Well, London's a big Labour hotspot, I suppose. It always has been, hasn't it?
Yeah. So what we're trying to say is as well, and we do talk, you know, we're just an interview, but we have conversations. We all have conversations. This is how we help each other and learn from each other and know what to say. And you know, we were saying earlier on, we're at a situation in our lifetimes now where it's not about, and it's quite remarkable. It's not about replacement as an argument. It's not an argument. It's happening. If we keep going,
it's no longer theoretical.
It's no longer, it's no longer misinformation. It's no longer far right. You know what I mean? But where we're at now is we're looking at how long is it going to be. When we're looking at England, it's not really known now because we can't really get the figures and the numbers right now. If it keeps going, then you know, we're at that stage at the minute where we can sort the demographic out and make sure Northern Ireland stays for Northern Irish people. Yeah. You know what I mean? And there's not that much to ask, you know what I mean? You know, like I say, it is nice to have Indians in, it's nice to have Muslims in and Jewish people and all the rest of it, you know, and it is really difficult because it is a fine line, you know what I mean? Yeah. Trying to not be, you know, not come across as far right as racist, because we have genuine concerns. We want to keep our country the way it is. But the thing is, you know, it's, being too kind is destroying England. It's destroying Glasgow. Glasgow's got 40 mosques in it, you know. That's inclusive, diversity's good. And that's how they win you over. They make you feel bad. They say, oh, they come from war-torn countries that we bombed. We never bombed them. Did you bomb them?
No, certainly not.
Did you bomb them?
No way.
No. None of us bombed them. A traitorous government bombed these countries. You know, so when they come in here and they say, oh, well, we're here because you bombed. We never bombed. My daughter never bombed you. You know what I mean? So it is difficult. It is very difficult. But the main thing is, if we've got to understand, is unchecked migration, mass migration leads to, you know, it leads to a complete change of demographic. It leads to having to bring halal meat into places, into schools. It leads to Christianity and things like our nativity plays are starting to get pushed out in schools in England because they don't want to offend Islam. And then we have Sharia courts popping up, and of course they need to pray. So we have mosques, and you know, at the end of the day, there's 55 Muslim countries around the world. Why come here? You know what I mean?
Well, that's it. That's very true, mate. Like you said, they come here accordingly for a safe haven, yet they cross maybe 8 safe countries before they get here. So
you know, and you know, and I know, like, we always go down this route, but any chance we get to talk about this kind of thing online and try and awaken people, we've got to tell you exactly what's going on. And it's just the way it is right now, because it's not in your street, because it's not in your area. it doesn't mean it's not happening. And this is another thing I was
What's
saying.
coming? You not be mistaken. It's coming.
But this is the thing, right?
And I'll maintain it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better.
Yeah, Dan, and this is why I've got so much respect for you. And I'm like, honestly, guys in Coleraine, you've really got to listen to this man and give this man the respect he's due. Because where we're at right now in Northern Ireland, yeah, this is our 15 years. And I've said, I'm going to emphasise this once more and explain to you what I'm talking about. So today, we're in a situation in Northern Ireland, what it was like 15 years ago in England, right? It wasn't in your face, but it was there, right? Yeah. Now, they didn't have a Dan Grundle then. They didn't have Freedom Dad, you know, they didn't have a Lindsay Brown, they didn't have a patriotic media, you know, they didn't have EBFD, they didn't have Pinky, they didn't have Glenn Kane, you know what I mean? They didn't get all these men that are standing here today. They didn't have that. And one of the reasons was they were being silenced and they weren't allowed online and all the rest of it. They were shutting them down so they could keep doing what they're doing. So what I'm saying is, where they are in England today, there's so many in, it's too late. Yeah. It's almost too late.
I still maintain England will still burn, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. You know? And this is why you're seeing so many angry Englishmen and so much talk about civil war. You know, we don't want to get to that stage. We're at an early stage where we can stop it. So this is the point I want you to take from this. See when it's too late. See when it's too late, that's when you're going to see it all. That's when it's going to be in your face and you're going to be, oh, you're all going to be up in arms. We are ahead of our game. Dan is ahead of our game. All the patriots in Northern Ireland right now are ahead of their game, you know. And it's as simple as, if you're going to wait until it's in your street and you're starting to moan and complain about it and think, oh, this doesn't look good for the future for our children when I'm no longer here, then, you know, that's on to use. We're not waiting. We're catching this we're nipping this in the bud. Dan's nipping this in the bud, standing up, taking the flack that you see that he's taken from the papers, just like we all do, you know, taking all the flack, being called far right, because nobody gets it. Nobody, they just see him, oh, he's just a far right bigot, he's just a racist, and bring out all silly stuff from the past like they have with me. We're here, you're a father.
Yeah,
you're a father.
Yeah,
I mean, like, father.
I don't pay attention to that noise, you know, it's little odds to me at this point.
Yeah.
You know, and you're dedicated to something, you're dedicated to it.
And just because you've got a pass, you're a working class man, you've been brought up in hard times and the troubles, just because we've got pass, it doesn't mean we cannot have futures. And we talk about rehabilitation, that was all the big talk of the left and Labour, but as soon as the right stand up, there's no rehabilitation. We're held accountable for our sins from back in the day, even though it was because of where we were brought up and how we were brought up. We lived in a conflict, and you know, we didn't have the luxuries of mental health and psychologies and people understanding why children were behaving certain ways, and that's what it's all down to. And I just want to say thank you. So well done. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. What we need now is the rest of the patriots throughout the country to take this to council level, and then eventually at some point it's going to have to go to Stormont, and then it'll go to Westminster. I need people to trust in the process. That's what we need people to trust in, is trust the process.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, mate. Brilliant. Thank you so much, mate. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Right, you folks.
We need citizen journalists, right? We need guys in Coleraine to become citizen journalists. If you know a wee bit about the right, if you have children, you know, if you're a mother, a father, a granny, a granddad, an auntie, an uncle, and you can talk, you know, if you've got a camera, I will teach you anything you need to do. If you get in contact with Freedom Dad and want to say you want to report on what Dan's doing and be there recording him and interviewing him and you know, doing your bit, that's all I say. You're not going to make money at it. You know, it is difficult. You will take a lot of flack, but you know, at the end of the day, it's time to stand up. So my appeal to anybody, you know, in Coleraine, if you're interested in getting involved with citizen journalists, doing exactly what I do, I will help you get microphones, gimbals, stands. I'll teach you how to edit. We will do everything we can. We have a structure in place now to help people get involved in what we do. You know, and there's plenty of room. We'll get your YouTube channel started up. We'll get your Facebook channel started up, TikTok, and it will be. Don't think it's hard. With the amount of people that we have in social media, we will build any platform up instantly. So we're here to help. You know, and I should be in a garden having a drink, but I'm here in Coleraine for the boys. But yeah, it is what it is. So listen, guys, get your fingers out, do a wee bit more, come to these places, support Dan, get involved on Facebook. the Northern Ireland Voice, and you know, we'll get a YouTube. They'll have a YouTube going up soon, and just reach out through Messenger. Ask Dan's approachable. You can speak to him. Any queries, myself, any queries. We're all approachable. We answer phone calls. We reply to emails. We reply to messages. It's very important that I emphasise that. You know, none of us are bigger than the movement. We're all part of the movement. We've all got our own lanes, and we're very humble, believe it or not, in Northern Ireland. And I'm quite proud to say that. So yeah, I'm Freedom Dad. Outside, quite cold, sun's going down, but wee bit of a drive home. But we're here supporting the men and women in Coleraine, helping sort their future to go in the right direction for Northern Ireland. I'm Freedom Dad, and God bless.